So I took a class in essay writing in college, and I remember my professor said, in order to even write, you need something to write on. In order to write, you need something to write on, and it ain't blank notebook paper. That's complicated. You just about have to write on a complete structure and knowing how to put the oomph behind it. Okay. So, so we're going to build a complete write on model using a character archetype and antagonist archetype, a story nugget, which is a premise and an idea, a plot line, an arc line, and an arc, plot line, an arc, a narration style, uh, additional vocabulary terms, and let me get a 10 by 10 right on scene list with transitions. Make sure I'm right. We are looking for perfection. We're not looking for happiness. We need the blueprint. Okay. You can always fill this in. You can always fill this in. It's already filled in. So it's like are we at a perfect right on model? User writes on the scenes with personalization. Okay? But not necessarily happiness, i.e., a exercise. Daily exercise of writing. We're at a functional write-on model. We've correctly identified that for a story of this nature, clinical, dystopian, and memory focus, utility lies in repetition and constraint. Okay. Um. So let's look at some uh, protagonist archetypes, like a man, hero, woman, child, a fighter. Let's look at a whole bunch of them. So you choose an archetype for a character, just like choosing an operating system for a protagonist. It's got some weird stuff like an archivist, a glitch, an anomaly that doesn't understand its own existence, kind of like the Matrix. The enforcer uses violence to maintain order, hates themselves for it. The ghost already deleted but exists in a cache. The saboteur. Use normal people stuff. Rewrite chat. Use normal people stuff, not like this weird stuff. Drop the sci-fi jargon, get down to brass tacks. Here's some normal people archetypes. Burnout. Wants to just get through the day without anyone noticing them. The good soldier, the outsider, the fixer, the rebel. How about we choose the fixer? The fixer. Okay. Antagonist. Archetype chosen for him. What about, remember that model is a plot line and an arc.
Customer service needed in the computer accessories department.
Premise. A man fixes both computers and people
Computer accessories department.
when they become customers. The idea is that he must choose between going back to school for social work or continue to run as an unlicensed clinician and PC troubleshooter in a now changing world. Look at that. Deep, you can tell he's a fat guy. Defining the core antagonist. This is solid, it's grounded, it's very grounded. Very grounded, it's very normal people, it's very grounded. By merging the PC repair world with informal therapy, you get a perfect metaphor. Fixing a machine is logical and orderly, but fixing a person is messy and unpredictable. You're essentially right about a man who treats humans like hardware, hardware like humans. Yeah, his name is Elias. He's a guy who loves the clarity of hardware, but feels burdened by the complexity of human emotion. He's unlicensed, uncertified, and arguably more effective than the professionals because he listens to what people actually say, not what the clinical intake forms demands. Vane, the auditor. This isn't a villain, this is a force of standardization. Vane is a representative of the new world. Licensing boards, health regulations, and digital privacy laws. Vane doesn't want to destroy life, he wants to classify them. If you can't be classified, you must be removed. There's going to be a scene list, and let's see here. Phase 1, the dual grind, the squeeze. So you get 3, you get 4 scenes. I would say I'll say 20 scenes that you can write on for a while. So it just tells you what to do, right? What you're gonna do is now say, give me the intro before the first scene. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna write it. You're gonna look at it, write it, kind of like personalized way. Most people think you can reuse anything broken and discarded machine as a tragedy and an end. I like that. I think it's a symptom of a symptom. I think it's a symptom of disease, of brokenness within the blessed machine. I want to use a blessed machine. Most people think a broken and discarded machine is a tragedy. Unto an end. I think it's a symptom of disease, of brokenness, of systemic failure. In and around the human animal. The human animal. The blessed machine. I like that. You write on it. You don't bring me a laptop because bring me a laptop because the hard drive clicked this last rotation. One simply does not. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine. Machines versus devices. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine. Machine in tatters. Broken. It is broken. My machine shattered or torn asunder. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine shattered. Shattered from. So let's say this. We're on the intro. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine in need of repair. The drives clicking their final rotations. One shall bring it unto me the last test you worked on before the screen blank. That terrible, horrible feeling that an intrustable shrugs.
It's like team then
Final
goes like
acts upon
It's also have to be based
and
off
then
of how
they
long.
lose.
final acts. Shows how final acts onto the bitter end. Oh, you just press enter. Now you can, you see what I'm saying? You can write on something. We're because we don't have to define things like tone, cadence, things like that. Once you start writing on it, some of these things are defined like tone. Yeah, move the protagonist, bring a mere technician to a custodian of digital penitence. The machine is no longer hardware. It is a reliquary for the final acts of human life. That was going to give me writing exercises. So, like, rewrite intro with my additions. We'll see what happens. Most people think a broken and discarded machine is a tragedy unto an end. They see a paperweight, I see a symptom. It is a manifestation of disease, of brokenness, a systemic failure in and around the human animal, the blessed machine itself. That's not bad. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine in need of repair merely because the drives are clicking their final, desperate rotations. No, one shall bring it unto me for the last task they worked on before the screen went black. They come for that terrible, horrible feeling that an entrustable reconstructs thy final acts unto thy bitter end in enjailment. The world outside these walls is obsessed with objects, so that's not me. That's what to write on. The world outside these I made that word up. Folded walls is obsessed, premature, optimals, and expensive certifications. Desperate to make profitable claims by the undertaking of doing wrong to others. They call it progress. One man rises because another man made to fall. I call it politics. Most people think a broken and discarded machine is a tragedy unto an end. They see a paperweight, I see a symptom. It is a manifestation of disease, of brokenness, a systemic failure in and around the human animal, the blessed machine itself. One simply does not or shall not bring me a machine in need of repair, merely because the drives are clicking their final, desperate rotations. No, one shall bring it unto me for the last task they worked on, before the screen went blank. They come for that terrible, horrible feeling that an untrustable reconstructs thy final acts unto thy bitter end and enjailment. The world outside these folded walls is obsessed with premature optimals and expensive certifications, desperate to make profitable claims by the undertaking of doing wrong to others. They call it progress. One man rises because another man is made to fall. I call it politics. They're desperate to exercise the ghost in the silicon with a policy manual. But here, there is no such certification. There is only the hum of the soldering station, the sharp metallic tang of ozone in the ledger. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a technician. I'm the gap between the error report and the confession. I think there needs to be, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, and then like 2 little quips at the end. I think it could use 5 or 6 paragraphs. One that says that they also work on people, the nature of people, that they work on people, and then there's that I am not a doctor. So I would add 2 paragraphs to this before the final quips. One on the nature of people, then one on the act of repairing people, then I am not a doctor paragraph, then the final quips. So you're writing on something. I was gonna flesh it out a little bit. We have a skeleton. Yeah, it adds this. The human animal is there's no such certification. The human animal is a volatile architecture. We are frantic scrambles of impulse and ambition, circuit boards frayed by decades of short circuits and unshielded grief. We were never designed to hold the weight of our own histories, yet we cling to them like rusted screws. See, I don't like rusted screws, so I'm gonna go back and write over that paragraph, refusing to let go until the structural integrity of the soul begins to bow under the load of too many uncatalogued sins. See, I was saying earlier in this video that I had a professor, an essay professor, who said when they did creative writing, they had stuff to write on. They had stuff to write on. Watch this. I'll save this and just go to a new chat. Okay. Give me
Get that taken care of.
Moby Dick
No problem.
intro and chapter 1. I don't care if it's exactly it or if it's just it's gonna look at some public domain. Moby Dick begins with 2 preparatory sections, etymology and extracts. that function as an intellectual frame for narrative. Normally I can help with this, but I don't seem to have access to console. Okay, like make up the intro in chapter 1. I'm gonna write over it. So it's gonna do a preface and then chapter 1. I could now write over that like a preface. The sanctity of the port. There are some stories that told by men who lived the tale. Others told by men who channeled it from the, as an antenna tunes to God for the sake of warning the nation. Like that. Sometimes the Bible just gives you warnings against danger, sanctity of the poor. So it's just revised a couple of things in the preface. The sanctity of the poor. There's a peculiar sanctity to the poor, a threshold where the solid, predictable earth yields to the fluid, chaotic infinite. It is here that men strip away the pretensions of society, leaving their reputations and their fears upon the docks, much as they leave their lives in their death. There are some stories I like that. I don't know why. That just hit me on some kind of profound level. I have no idea. It's kind of scary. There are some stories that belong to those who live the tale, men whose bodies bear the jagged maps of their own survival, who recount their exploits with the grit of sand still between their teeth. But there are other stories, harder to articulate, told by men who channeled the events as an antenna tunes to God, vibrating with the frequency of a truth too large for one heart to hold. These are the warnings written for the sake of a nation, designed to signal from the dark where others fear to look. And then I'd write on this third part. If this account feels distant, or if the voice seems to echo from a place beyond the rigging, it is because I'm merely vessel. See, that doesn't hit me. It's all AI, no human. All AI, no human. So I'd go back and write on. If this recounting of a tale, that's what it is. It's a recounting of a tale. Feels alien. Unlikely. Or if the voice seems to echo patriarchal submissiveness to all of generation unto their child bearers, men because for grave danger we are, as humans, given naught but fair warning. Particularly of the void and of the deep. That to wander or sail, that to wander the world or sail aboard ship is to die upon thy knees, or to die upon There we go. What else is there? Whether you decide this recall of the deep is memoir, memory, it is most indeed a ledger of impending. I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
I just got an alert saying that it needs insurance information.
There's a particular sanctity to the poor, a threshold where the solid, predictable earth yields to the fluid, chaotic infinite. It's here that men strip away the pretensions of society, leaving their reputations that are feared upon the docks, much as they leave their wives in their death. Use all my personalized writings to put the intro together.
Thank you so much.
Hey, there is a peculiar sanctity to the poor, a threshold where the solid, predictable, I don't remember writing that, predictable earth yields to the fluid, chaotic infinite. It is here that men strip away the the pretensions of society, leaving their reputations and affairs upon the docks, much as they leave their wives and their deaths. There are some stories that belong to those who live the tale, men whose bodies bear the jagged maps of their own survival. Crap, that's not what I wrote. That's not what I wrote. The weight of the tides. It would change it from the weight of the tides to sanctity of the port. There are some stories told by men who lived the tale, others told by men who channeled it. Tell men whose bodies bear the jagged maps of their own survival. Okay, it rewrote that. Okay. And then, yeah, it rewrote it. There are some stories that belong to those who live the tale, men whose bodies bear the jagged maps of their own survival, who recount their exploits with a grit of sand still between their teeth. But there are other stories, harder to articulate, told by men who channeled the events as an antenna tunes to God, vibrating with the frequency of a truth too large for one heart to hold. These are warnings written for the sake of a nation, designed to signal from the dark where others fear to look. If this recounting of a tale feels alien or likely, or if the voice seems to echo a patriarchal submissiveness to an entire generation unto their child leaders, be they men or women, it is because, I think I should say child bearers, be they men or women. It is because in the face of such danger we are given naught but fair warning, particularly of the void and of the deep. We are taught that to wander the world, or to sail aboard a ship, is to die upon thy knees, or to die upon the waves ridden by the ship. Well, the use I just recalled, so I just wrote over it because what is that? I guess it's just having fun. You could do that for 30 minutes and go say, who told you to spare the dolphin? Dolphin, boy. And that's a whole thing. That's the beginning of mutiny. That's the beginnings of mutiny. That's not bad. That's not bad. It just come out of nowhere. Who told you to spare the dolphin, boy? This is the beginning of mutiny. Dang. Well, that might be something to do. I could go from chapter 1 to that in chapter 2 and maybe do a whole other thing. Well, anyway, peace out.